Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Not used to working without a podium. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, New York. Welcome to those who are single, married, divorced, widowed, heteronormative, gay, confused, very rich, very poor, or somewhere comfortably in between. Welcome to longtime members, guests, or visitors who might be just browsing. Sorry, I'll try not to turn my head. To those who could use a prayer right now, maybe you had religion shoved down your throat as a child, or you merely got lost on the road and ended up here by mistake. However you got here, whether you're pilgrims, holiday makers, seekers, doubters, whether here in person or joining us via YouTube, we are glad you're with us today. My name is Meisha Shively, and I am worship associate at this church. We're blessed to be together today in this beautiful space, and we acknowledge that the land upon which our church is built is the original territorial lands of the Haudenosaunee people, a confederation of 6 different tribes who came together for mutual defense and mutual support and are still believed to be the oldest functioning democracy in the world. As always, we are grateful to the unsung heroes who work behind the scenes to make our time together smooth and enjoyable. Our tech team, ushers, musicians, and myriad volunteers make our services possible. And our music department, under the direction of Dr. Jesse Downs, has a special service for us today. Joining Jesse in leadership is Alex McArthur, who has arranged several of the pieces you'll hear and will deliver our sermon message. Many of our announcements are shared on the screen this morning as well as in the bulletin, so I'll try to keep it brief, but we've had a couple of important additions. You will see a dedicated page in your bulletin to the UUCB Amazing Fun and Fellowship Auction. That's a big one because online bidding starts at midnight. There is a table in the parish hall to help you get registered. There is a provided link and a QR code to check out those many offerings. That's in your bulletin on the separate sheet. And get your bids in before they're sold out. The in-person auction will be in Parish Hall next Sunday, right after church. Next Sunday, the 17th, is a seasonal favorite, Saturday, the 17th, Elmwood Porch Fest. And UUCB is right in the thick of things. Stop by here at 2 p.m. for a casual concert featuring an instrumental Brazilian choro by Stephen Guerra and Ken Luck, followed by the Buffalo Silver Band at 4 p.m., who will do a fun mix of jazz and rock and movie music and Beatles tunes to tap along with. Our organist, Sue Lee, will be in the parish hall for a fundraiser that she is holding to help her with some mission work that she has planned. Please stop by her table to chat with her. Today is Mother's Day, and it is the perfect time to pick up one of these lovely Korean pouches that Sue Lee will be selling as a gift. Pardon me? Lucky pouches. Lucky pouches? Yeah. Oh, okay. Lucky pouches, even better. Forgive my shuffling. I think there might be something else I'm missing. There it is. You'll see on the back of your bulletin a memorial and reception for artist Jane Bergen, formerly Jane Malkowitz. That'll be here at 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. respectively on Saturday, May 31st. Also, 50-year member Kathy Ludwig will be remembered at that memorial service and a reception on Sunday, June 8th at 3 and 4. Please see Nancy Wilkins in the parish hall or contact Nancy or Lucy Sloan via email. You can see your e-blast for that. The Women's Society offers memorial reception for church members and their families, and they could use some volunteers to help make all of that happen. Now, take a moment, if you will, please, and greet your friends and neighbors next to you And if you just want to sit and listen to the buzz, that's fine too. Oh, okay. Sorry. I got discombobbled and forgot an announcement, so we're going to slide one more in here from Tony Keller. I just introduced you, Tony.
Good morning, gardeners. I'm here to sell compost. Compost is that additive to the garden that not so much nutrients, but it opens the soil so the roots can take nutrients out, especially good for clay soils. We've got it in the parking lot under the fire escape. It is $8 a bag, 2 for $15, and if you're real good, 5 for $30. Now, if you want some, it'll be cash only. See me after the service today. If you need an ATM, there's one at the bank next door. I have heard this referred to as church dirt. I would rather say it is the toast of all that is compost.
Well, I'm glad we got that one in. I'll ask you guys to stay seated because the first hymn is going to be shared by the UUCB Choir. So you remain seated, but please join me as we light our chalice in reciting that which is in the bulletin. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves, to create a more just and compassionate world. There? Okay. Thank you, choir, and thank you, Jesse. Would the children come forward and share a story with me? And anybody who's older and wants to come and sit with me, I'd love the company. Come on down.
Which one do you want?
This one, that one's up.
I'll turn it on.
Oh, did I miss it? Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm going to do this from back here because we're missing some of the words up on the screen. Our story today is called The Girl God. And we can debate whether we believe in God or not all day long, but I think we can agree that we've got feelings inside of us that are important. God may be in the details, but the goddess is in the questions. Once we begin to ask those, there's no turning back. Hilani Claire is a magical girl who loves to play and laugh. From her very early years, she was full of life and adventure, and sometimes this got her into trouble. Hilani's family seemed very different from her friends' families. Her mommy is a Muslim, and her daddy is a Christian. To make matters worse, her parents do not live together anymore, and some people say her mom is pretty full of herself, which seems like a very bad thing. Hilani often wishes her family was just normal. Sometimes, Hilani's mom seems very sad, and Hilani wonders if maybe somehow this is her fault. One more, Josh. Thank you. But every day, her mom tells her, "You are wonderful. You're amazing. You are magical. Do you know how much Mommy loves you?" And Hilani stretches her arms out as wide as she possibly can and says, "This much." And Hilani's mom smiles and says, "Even more than that. I love you that much times infinity." But when she goes to the big church that her daddy attends, or to her mommy's small mosque, she doesn't feel quite right. In fact, she feels confused. One day, Hilani sneezed hard, and her mother muttered, "Alhamdulillah." She asked Hilani, "Do you know what that means?" "No," she answered sullenly. "It means, thank you, God. When we sneeze, we say thank you to God for taking any bad thoughts or sickness out of us." And noticing that Hilani still looked confused, her mother said, "Do you feel God inside of you?" Well, Hilani looked down, a little ashamed, and shook her head and said, "No, I don't feel God." Maybe, she thought, God is only for my big brother. At church, they only say he for God. And in the mosque, the women have to sit in another room and cover up because some men think they're a distraction. Her mother paused, noticing her sad face, and whispered, "Maybe you have the girl God inside of you." Well, Hilani smiled, a big, big smile. "Yes, I feel the girl God inside of me." "What do you suppose the girl God looks like?" her mom asked curiously. "Like Grandma," Hilani exclaimed joyously. And Mom smiled.
Maybe you are the girl god." Mallonee smirked. That could not be. How could she be the girl god? She was not like Moses or Jesus or Muhammad. She was not a he. But somewhere inside of her, when no one was telling her how to act or what to do, she felt very powerful. "In the beginning, God was a woman," her mother exclaimed. "And I don't know anyone who is not born from a woman. Do you?" The Bible includes male and female descriptions of God, but many places of worship only use the masculine language for her. And in the Muslim faith, many of the words of female scholars were simply thrown out. Can you imagine how much of the religion would change if we heard it through the mouths of women instead of mostly men? Hilani and her mom began to discover girl gods all around them. They learned about the many women who'd done so much in all of the world religions, only to be silenced or ridiculed or taken out of the important history books later. They figured these women must have been pretty powerful. And with this discovery, both Hilani and her mom began to feel stronger and more powerful too. Hilani and her mom soon decided that the girl god was in both of them. In fact, the girl god was in everyone. Can you find the girl god inside of you? Do you hear her voice? You are wonderful. You are amazing. You are magical. Do you know how much I love you? Okay, do this with me, guys. Stretch your arms as wide as you possibly can and say, "This much." And if you listen very closely, you will hear the girl god within you and around you say in her very big voice, "I love you even more than that. I love you that much times infinity." Anybody got a favorite part of the story you want to tell me about? Yes, I can't, you'll have to talk loudly or come over here by the mic.
The part where she said, "this much."
Yeah? Did your parents ever tell you that? I love you this much? That's good. Come on over here.
I love you this much.
I love you that much too.
It's because Mommy tells me all the time.
Mommies do that.
Be kind to others and love your mom.
Good lesson. Words to live by. Will the rest of you please join me on singing your children on their way? Switching back and forth. Thank you. Today's offering will support the music ministry at UUCB, which, as we're experiencing this morning, is a very, very important part of our ministry. Under normal circumstances, we do have a share the plate designated for every given month. And this month's, other than today, will be the Clean Air Coalition. And we have somebody from Clean Air, Bridge Rosh, to share with us the mission that they are doing.
Good morning, friends. Again, my name is Bridge Rauch. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm one of the organizers with the Clean Air Coalition of Western New York. I also formerly had a role here at the Unitarian Church as the office administrator, and it's always a pleasure to be back in this space and with this community. For those unfamiliar with our work, Clean Air focuses on organizing with residents and workers in environmental justice communities. These are usually neighborhoods in and around industrial facilities or facilities which closed and left that contamination behind. Perhaps we're most notable for the work concerning the former Tonawanda Coke facility, but over the past 20-ish years, we've supported organizing efforts for everything from the proposed Peace Bridge expansion, which would have taken out a few blocks on like the west side here, to forcing action concerning the American Axle facility in the Delavan Grider community on Buffalo's east side, to helping forced enforcement in the Seneca Babcock community of the illegal Battaglia cement crushing operations there. And a whole bunch of other stuff. Some of these are still active campaigns. Others have been successful, so we've retired those. And we've pivoted to other work as well. So today, like one of the emerging issues we're organized around are unregulated data centers, which cause like quite a bit of energy consumption as well as like local environmental impacts. As well as a push for the implementation of the Build Public Renewables Act. This was a bill that passed a couple years ago, which gives like New York State the ability to directly build renewable energy projects. This year has been challenging for us, as is for everybody so far. We were and are the subrecipient of an awarded federal grant, which would have provided funding to build resiliency here in Buffalo neighborhoods against worsening weather disasters like the blizzard of 2022. And that funding has been eliminated by this current administration. So that compounded with all the other terrible news coming from DC, it forced us to take action to make up those budgetary losses, as well as mitigate the other harms that are coming from DC on top of all the existing campaign work. Positive side though, we've seen the community really step up, not only to support us through this period of adversity, but also to begin organizing at scale and within like large coalition-based movements, which works to build power for real and lasting change. And a quick call to action for everybody here, is I would really encourage like organizing like within faith communities, within these movements. During the civil rights movement, faith communities were at the forefront of like a lot of the advocacy and the action. And in recent years, Reverend Barber has been really calling like folks into action. And I have a quote from him here that I would like folks to consider is, "Wrong and evil have inbred the seeds of can't. Those who use their power can't stand because God is not mocked. Remember, there is a power higher than us all, and so by faith we will demand economic justice and address poverty. We will stand courageously, organize successfully, mobilize consistently, speak the truth relentlessly, pray fervently, preach prophetically, sue legally, vote massively, and we will not go away quietly or back down submissively. We will meet this challenge together." Clean Air's offices are on the campus of Trinity Church, and there's a number of other like really progressive faith communities here in the Buffalo area. And I would encourage, think about having some like discussions with other faith communities about how we can really like show up for this moment. So with all that said, thank you for your support with this month's Chair to Plate, and I hope to see you not only at our next general meeting, but also at some of the upcoming demonstrations and actions in the upcoming weeks, months, and years. So thank you.
Thank you, Bridge. As always, you may designate, if you so choose, where your offering will go, if you have a particular passion. But whether you give cash or check or online or repeat withdrawals, please give as generously as you can so that we may live into our values. Forgive my jumping the gun. I would never purposefully truncate any of the offerings from our fabulous choir. The ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras taught that the universe was composed entirely of numbers, and numbers corresponded to music. So the entire universe, all of reality, including us, was composed of numbers and music. The 7 planets of the ancient world each resonated a frequency outward into the universe. In a 19th century depiction of that Musica Universalis, or harmony of the spheres, each planet represented a different note on the musical scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Their music was not something we heard audibly, but their cosmic vibration, their resonance, could impact us all, as music could. Pythagoreans believed that the music purified and nourished souls, keeping us spiritually healthy in the same way that exercise and nutrition does for our bodies. I invite you to contemplate, what music do you need to purify or nourish your soul right now? As we enter into silence, I invite you to consider the song that is speaking to you at this moment. Imagine it is resonating within you, but also outward in all directions, bringing your resonance to those next to you, then to the people next to them, outward until it fills the room, connecting you with everyone else, communicating where you are today. As you do, I ask that you remember Margaret Smith, a member of our congregation who had disc surgery this past week and is recovering. I also invite you to invoke the names of those you are especially thinking about today, loved ones going through difficulties or celebrating joys, to expand our resonance and draw them into it. Each name a breath, and each breath a prayer. May our collective silence bring harmony to ourselves and to everyone in our orbit. Jean. Born May 5th. Blessed be, and may the church say, Amen.
There we go.
Where did Mother Earth come from? Mother Earth is a metaphor, a name to focus on the nurturing and life-giving aspects of nature. Casting nature as a collective mother goes as far back as mothers themselves. Cultures on every continent throughout time have honored many different mother goddesses, but our earliest recorded forms of motherhood festivals come from Greek mythology and the earth goddess, Gaia. Worship of nature goes back even further than that, though. Mothers are celebrated throughout Mother Earth. Hindus call her Prithvi, Romans, Terra. Indigenous Americans had Goyang Sohat, or the spider grandmother. Each of these traditions has contributed to the modern concept of Earth as mother. Earth provides food to feed us, water for us to drink, and air for us to breathe. If you were to thrust humanity out into the cold and dark universe, we would die. In the same way, without mothers, there is no way to sustain human life. When we are born, our mother is our entire world, and as we grow, she is there to guide us. And while we age, she can remind us of our origins. Is it any wonder that humankind connected the idea of motherhood to the entire planet? Motherhood and nature, two concepts that will be intertwined forever.
Good morning. Hello, everybody. You know, if you told me 10 years ago that I would be doing something like this, I had a very, very, very severe stage fright, and even more so when it came to public speaking. So this whole weekend in its entirety feels pretty surreal in itself. But regardless of that, thank you so much for your time, for this space, and for your listening ears. I first want to thank Miss Jessie Downs for everything that she has done to make this weekend all that it is. To think that this was all but an idea last summer, one that quickly and easily came to life, and wouldn't have been possible without Jessie and Caroline Mallonee's mentorship and support during this process of arranging and creating music that I feel speaks true to my heart. This morning, I plan on sharing some stories that helped to make this past Friday night's spring music weekend everything that it was, and tell you a little bit more about myself and sort of my musical history. Because trust me when I tell you, the soil in which I was planted and everything that has been growing for the last 28 years and some change is some real soulful soil. We live in a world with so many things going on, and it's hard to keep up. At times, I like to blame the internet for my scatterbrainedness and distractions that often prevent me from doing the things that I want and need to do. But really, at the heart of our pain and distraction, there's longing for change, longing for peace, longing for justice, longing to go back to the way that things were before. The distance between what was and what is in all the ways that that can be applied. But not only that, but how does one try to take care of others and even themselves when confusion, chaos, madness, manipulation, betrayal, deceit, and overall shying away from the truth, narrowing our sightlines, and taking us away from our purpose, our values, and the basic practice of empathy? What do we do? What can one single person do? All of these things are becoming more and more normal, often in the places we want to be the most comfortable in, feel safe in, and grow within. And yet, we are met with a different set of circumstances that take us away from ourselves and the ability to see one another. It's safe to say that we have our own definitions of paradise, our own vision of what heaven is to us, a place that feels just right and specifically catered to and based on who we are and our experiences. A place absent of doubt, of judgment, of intrusive thoughts, a place where all fear melts away. I fear that we have a dire, immediate, and universal need for that sort of space on both an individual and collective level. A space where two opposing forces can still come together, set aside their differences, and fully see and witness one another. The same day that we received our election results was the same day that I was to give a presentation on what this special weekend of music would entail. I first let a wave of grief come over me that day that lasted from about 5 a.m. until about 3 p.m. I went and people watched outside of the co-op, wondering what was going to happen to each and every person that was walking by, biking by, driving by, considering the countless social dynamics that were soon to shift in the coming months. But once my grief passed through, it became clear what my purpose would be. Reviewing my materials and pulling out some of my old songs and heading to a rather gloomy choir rehearsal that night before the presentation. All of the people surrounding me at the rehearsal and the choral music we were singing, reminding me of what I was to do and why I was to do it, short and long term. When we feel as though our vision is clouded, that the ability to practice love is inhibited by some part of our experience, a fog that results in being unable to find our way through any sort of darkness. Words alone often cannot ease that pain. It may not be enough to convey the origin of that darkness's depth. And that's where art, creation, and expression all come into play. And thank God for that. If it isn't already obvious, singing has essentially been my sunshine, my tried and true way out of darkness since the day I was born. Or at least that's what I'd like to believe. The communion that is shared in music through melody, harmony, rhythm is unlike anything else. I say that as a person who is soothed by lush harmonies, whether they come from the human voice or various instrumentation and styles, sound created through breath or by hand that someone can speak to an unspoken voice, a feeling, a mood. How does one feel whole and full again and after feeling empty for such a long time? All because of a decision to give into some syncopated rhythm and groove, or the sensation of singing the same word, a mantra, a chant on the same vowel, at the same time, with 20 other people on anywhere from 4 to 12 parts. There's so much music. There's so many options. There's so many things to say, and so many ways in which to say them, regardless of where people come from, what they look like, and where they've been. Two families with their own unique set of circumstances and experiences came together through two people that you and I know as Raymond McArthur and Beverly Hall, AKA my parents. A quirky Irishman, a genius in his own right who could master any instrument he could pick up, and an African-American single mother with the sickest and thriftiest fashion sense on her side of the block, effortlessly able to sing, dance, and rejoice from her heart any chance she got. The both of them as committed to each other as they were to God. And with that, each of them had their own perspectives, including their taste in music. It's why this music weekend contained as much of a variety as there was, from choral music to Phil Collins, to Caroline Mallonee, to the Gershwins, and even a new and up-and-coming composer that I've heard about named Alexandra Ray McArthur. What a true honor and gift to have a space to combine so many things and so many sources of joy and inspiration and light to me that in their planting within me were truly passed down. There was space for stillness and movement within all the music that was being sung, played, and practiced regularly when I was growing up. Of course, we sang in church together. Church attendance every Sunday was a must. And I'll say that as the deer became a standout to me and spoke to me after it was a part of my grandfather's funeral service when he passed when I was in 3rd grade. But each of my parents had their own role in what they planted in me and how they did it. I have memories of my father putting on Take 5 by Dave Brubeck, testing me at random to count in that classic 5/4 time signature, whether we were on our way to Walmart or we were in the hardware section of Sears. He would have me practice paradiddles alongside him while watching TV in the living room, eventually needing my own set of sticks to practice with. all because he was taking drum lessons regularly through my time in elementary and middle school every other Monday night with Mr. Lou Marino. I believe some of you may know who that is. Along with having Classical 94.5 on every morning and all through the night, from the time I was a baby up until I kind of got a little sick of classical music for a bit and wanted to move and groove a little bit more when it came to waking up in the morning. Meanwhile, my mom and I would strategically wait until my dad would leave the house for a while, which often would happen on Saturday nights, in order to blast things like Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind and Fire, Lionel Richie, The Village People, and soul music of the like, along with really any pop song that we would find on the radio that had some sort of heart or good rhythm to it, as loud and as truthfully as we possibly could. Full caution to the wind, and just dance our hearts out. And I have to speak on this. When it came to Phil Collins, I would lock myself in my room for a few hours, stealing my father's CD pamphlets before he got home from work in order to write out the lyrics for myself and learn to sing along to my favorites on a loop for hours, and I mean hours on end, quite literally driving both of my parents insane, all while creating my own harmonies and grooves in my head and choreographing dance moves influenced by the way Phil, Peter, Michael, Stevie, and truly any singer from any genre whose delivery resonated with me. However, over the last few years, the way that music and work have intertwined have made it more difficult at times for music to exist solely as that beacon of light. Oftentimes, the stresses, fears, overwhelm over a big performance, a particularly vulnerable piece that will be shared, the social dynamic of an ensemble, the unpredictability of what could go wrong during a special event where live music and performances are involved. These scenarios where fear is present and anxiety is triggered can taint what little light source we may have while going through difficult periods of time and take us away from that moment. Well, thankfully, that's what spring is here for, to remind us of that even after our periods of worry and doubt, if we stay committed to finding the light, even when we can't see it, it will come. Patience is truly a virtue. So I don't know about you, but there were a couple of funny accidents that happened over the course of the pandemic. And I think one of the lowest and wackiest points that I personally got to was at one point I found a dead rodent in my driveway, and I felt so compelled and I was so bored that I went on Facebook and live streamed a rat funeral. That is a real statement that I just said. Yes, I held a rat funeral and sang I Dreamed a Dream from Les Mis to the dead rat. This is true. But outside of some of the wacky and crazy things that we may or may not have done in that time, one of those happy accidents was teaching myself piano, longing to play music with other people again, and with that, writing one of my own songs, a song entitled Unity, which was played this past weekend. With no car and little activities to do with others, spending time outside became a new way of entertainment for myself. Only as the months went by and my runs turned into walks to take in the scenery of that spring, which then morphed into regular hikes to have that feeling of sunshine of your skin that somehow made up for the lack of natural dopamine that would come from socializing and spending time with others. I found myself getting in touch with a part of myself that I had not before, and since then have been exploring that clarity and deepening my understanding of so many aspects of life that reveal themselves through the height and changing of the seasons. Which is really silly if you think about it, because what kind of life was I living before then if that kind of feeling was so rare? Since spring of 2020, the peace and ease I feel in the natural world, both close to and places far away from home I've been lucky enough to see, have led me to many profound realizations, my eyes being open to things within myself that I had not considered before, different fears being put to rest, learning how to trust time due to the examples of slow and easy growth and change happening all around us regularly, and finding a relaxing pace to slow my anxious mind down within. How is it that I'm comforted and put at ease just from taking 10 minutes to sit outside with no distractions, not speaking, and purely just listening? When's the last time that you sat outside with no distractions, listened to the birds sing? What about the way the wind moves through the leaves and that gentle, satisfying sound now that the leaves are back up on the trees? Or watch the ducks float across the water, taking their time to get to where they need to be. Or what about the feeling of the wind on your face? Or even laying down in the grass and watching the clouds gently drift by in the sky. Thank you, Carrie, for that reminder. That sort of motion, that ease, that slower rhythm, but a groove nonetheless, that makes it even the slightest bit easier, just makes that moment a tad bit softer. Alas, we organized and presented a program in order to both honor the arrival of spring and Mother's Day weekend. What seemed like a challenge to find something that would fit with both of those categories, with it, along with any artistic dreams of mine, came to be so naturally and so easily, as it often does when it comes from the heart. This talk of light and darkness, fear and ease, tension and release, love and fear, it's all very bittersweet, is it not? In 2023, I put my everything into a project surrounding Billie Holiday and her life. The experience was mentally and emotionally intense for many reasons, but so worth it. However, grief had unexpectedly hit me hard, both during the process and after the show closed, over Billie and her story, about American history, and seeing where my true place was within all of it. It was overwhelming, and I needed a way to recenter. I ended up on a road trip, and while struggling to be gentle enough with myself while navigating my many feelings, I read a few books to try and reset my mind. One of those books was entitled Bittersweet by Susan Cain. And I'd like to read a quote from this book. I've concluded that bittersweetness is not, as we tend to think, just a momentary feeling or event. It's also a quiet force, a way of being, a storied tradition. As dramatically overlooked as it is brimming with human potential. It's an authentic and elevating response to the problem of being alive in a deeply flawed yet stubbornly beautiful world. Most of all, bittersweetness shows us how to respond to pain by acknowledging it and attempting to turn it into art the way that musicians do, or healing, or innovation, or anything else that nourishes the soul. If we don't transform our sorrows and longings, we can end up inflicting them on others via abuse, domination, and neglect. But if we realize that all humans know, or will know, loss and suffering, we can turn towards each other. After I finished that book, I quickly realized how important it was for me to honor every and all aspects of myself and my grief from that point forward. My experience would not go to waste. In honoring our grief, we learn how to love ourselves, being gentle and patient, speaking softly yet truthfully, practicing and feeling compassion. We are all capable of such things, in the same way a mother takes care of her child, how any caretaker looks after something small, something fragile, something sensitive, that will require patience for the best possible outcome. It is the ability to love and be loved. Oftentimes, though, the person or people that we expect us to provide that sort of space were and are not able to for their own reasons, probably due to their own pain and hurt that wasn't given proper care and attention, whether that be a mother, a dear friend, a family member, any person that we love and was not able to love back in the same way. This is oftentimes the case and gives us all the more reason to embrace our softer side and be that steady yet gentle presence for ourselves. Doing so, we are all that much better and well equipped to practice empathy and help others through their pain. It is a constant cycle of giving. Grace, ease, understanding, and patience. It is all a courageous act. We must be easy on ourselves when grief hits us. There's nothing to do except wait out the storm. Sometimes we have to wait it out for a while, much longer than we would have originally thought or wanted. Grief is what makes seeing our grandmother's favorite flower blooming in springtime and feeling the effects of the joy it gave her only for a moment before that wave of sadness floods over us again. Grief is the smell of a loved one's favorite dish. Maybe it's someone that you no longer speak to or are close with. That smell looming in the air and unexpectedly hitting the deepest parts of us, wondering where that person went and why it still hurts in this way. Grief is putting your music on shuffle or putting an old album on and being reminded of the times you were singing along and sharing music with a friend that you are no longer close with. Grief is what makes the changing of the seasons and the nostalgia and memories that are brought up oftentimes hard to navigate through. Grief is longing for that person to say the thing you've always wanted to say, but they couldn't for whatever the reason may be. But if you were to think of us as flowers, as trees, as a living thing with ever-growing roots in need of constant nutrition and care in order to survive and grow, all of us an active part of the natural world around us with a similar set of basic needs in order to survive, I think it could be simply put as this. Grief is our darkness, and being committed to learning how to nurture and water our hearts, that process of learning how to both love ourselves and the people closest to us through that grief, is the light that will see us out of that darkness. Talking about and sharing our grief, admitting our fears and doubts, it can all be very difficult. It's a vulnerable and risky practice, when really, our pain is one of the biggest things that unites all of us. We are all human, and none of us, not a single one of us, is absent of it, nor perfect in moving through it. And I'm going to repeat that for those that need to hear it again, myself included. No one is perfect moving through grief. And that is why we have each other. That is why we have art. Why getting creative in our own ways and how we share our truth is the greatest light that can be put into a dark world. I am wholly committed to finding and sharing that light through music. And I thank you for the opportunity to do exactly that this weekend. Thank you.
Come on up, choir. In a moment, I'd invite all of you to stand and join the choir in singing hymn number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song.
Okay, we're going to get this. Please remain standing and recite with me as we extinguish our chalice. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love. Bye. As we listen to the blessing of music, may we know this ending as more than a time of goodbye. May the warmth of this community and the memory of our chalice flame sustain our hearts and encourage our minds as we engage the blessings of life's challenges and joys. The service is ended, but our service in the world continues. Go now in peace, in joy, and in love.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the ones of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of peace. We are makers of faith and the wisdom of ages. We are grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreams. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.